We have a major New York Yankees free agency update to go over, and it's obvious now. As a shocking turn of events, we have just seen a huge move happen in free agency regarding the New York Yankees and a rival team, and it's obvious now what the Yankees have to go out there and do after this move, and they do have a window to go do this, and we're going to break this all down, discuss what has happened, and why this next move for the Yankees is the obvious choice for multiple different reasons that we are going to go over, as the latest MLB free agency move will have a domino effect after directly impacting the New York Yankees. But guys, before we jump into all that, if you're part of that 69% that's not subscribed to Yankees Digest, make sure to go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss a single New York Yankees update, because we're coming out with videos, multiple videos every single day that you don't want to miss out on. But we're not going to dance around it. We're not going to do that. That's not what we do here at Yankees Digest, because look, obviously free agency is underway and we're waiting for the Yankees to make some moves, but some moves involving the Yankees have happened, as we have an update on Devin Williams and his free agency, as Devin Williams, as revealed by Jeff Passan, and the New York Mets are in agreement on a 3-year contract that guarantees more than $50 million. Well, Devin Williams signed with the New York Mets, and the New York Yankees once again lose a relief pitcher who started out as the closer and then ultimately got demoted, and for the second year in a row signs with the Mets. The Mets do it once again, the exact same thing that they did with Clay Holmes, except Devin Williams is not being turned into a starting pitcher at all. Williams got paid, and got paid quite nicely to go over to the Mets and be a key bullpen arm. Now, Williams, he had his worst season in the MLB this last year, having a 4.79 ERA and a whip of 1.129. Both of those obviously way down. The man had an average whip under 1 before showing up in New York, and just severely underwhelming, or being severely underwhelming. The man just didn't play well. He did get it going eventually in the later part of the season. He absolutely did, and that's not to be taken for granted. And Williams ultimately has talked about how much he loved New York, saying, "I loved New York, and it grew on me, and I love taking the train to the game." And the good news for Williams is he still gets to take the train to the game. It's now just going to be the 7 train, as he's going to head off to Citi Field instead, as Williams has ultimately left the New York Yankees. Now, Williams leaving does kind of spark a few different feelings. I mean, as we see right here, Devin Williams, he did rank at the top 3% in chase percentage with a 35, whiff percentage with a 37.7, and strikeout percentage in a 34.7. The 31-year-old is known for his gross changeup, and his 268 FIP indicates that he should have performed a lot better. Ultimately, he didn't, and there's a couple different factors for that. Williams did seem to have some choking games where he just couldn't find the strike zone the same way, but at the same time, he also was the product of some bad luck as well. Williams is better than his ERA, there's no doubt about it, and that's why he got paid handsomely, despite the fact that his ERA was quite elevated this season, and that to start the year, he played absolutely horrendously, to the point where he would ultimately lose his closing job to Luke Weaver. Weaver would get injured, Williams would gain it back, and then, as we know, the Yankees would ultimately trade for David Bednar. That's something to note here. The Yankees didn't just lose their closer. David Bednar is still their closer, is going to be their closer. The Yankees still have some solid bullpen arms out there, and it's also, we've seen multiple reports that the Yankees are targeting the bullpen over their starting pitching. So with all that in mind, when we look at everything, when we look at these names, it does make some sense that the Yankees are going to go in this direction, continue to look for their bullpen. There's good bullpen names out there, and even despite that, they do still have a great closer in David Bednar. They have Camilo Doval, who could hopefully bounce back. Jake Bird will likely be back with the MLB roster for the prospects the Yankees gave up for him. On top of that, they brought back Ryan Yarbrough. They brought back Tim Hill. They do have talent on this bullpen. There's no doubt about it. The team certainly does have talent in their bullpen. Just at the same time, it does lose Williams. This isn't shocking, though. I'm not surprised they lost Williams. Williams did not have a path towards closer. There's always a chance that Luke Weaver does re-sign with the Yankees as well, whereas Williams, it didn't feel like it was going to happen at all. I didn't expect it to. As I said multiple times, at least in regards to Devin Williams, the man should, and I said he should just run for the hills, because it didn't work, and I would get as far away from New York as possible to try to reset myself. Devin Williams decided to leave the Yankees while going as least far away as humanly possible by signing with a team that you could take the train to in around an hour. So, with that in mind, obviously it sucks to see Williams leave, and especially it sucks to see him go to a rival team. But at the end of the day, I'm not that concerned, because the Yankees can replace him. There's a laundry list of good bullpen names this season, guys. I mean, for real, there is. Like, obviously, we see at the top is Edwin Diaz, and we're going to talk about Edwin Diaz in 1 second for obvious reasons, but Robert Suarez, he is a great relief pitcher who the Yankees, I would not be surprised if they hold some interest in on a short-term contract. Nick Martinez, a name who the Yankees will likely show interest in. Pete Fairbanks, the Yankees will likely show interest in him. Emilio Pagan, Tyler Rogers, Sir Anthony Dominguez, Luke Weaver, of course, on a re-sign. Mark Leiter on a re-sign, all a bunch of names that it would not be surprising to see the Yankees go for. Maybe they ask David Robertson to come back as the only member really the only guy they could possibly sign who was there with the Yankees when they won the World Series in 2009, was on the Yankees, made a second stop at the Yankees. Maybe they decide to get him for a third stop. I'm more joking, sort of. But look, obviously there is one name that we have to talk about above all others, and that's Edwin Diaz here. The Yankees lost Devin Williams, who's a free agent, to the Mets. How can the Yankees respond? Sign Edwin Diaz. I mean, look, Devin Williams is getting an average annual value around $15 million per year. Yankees should just go for Williams, pay a little bit, or go for Diaz, pay a little bit more. Go out there and be like, well, this one is long overdue. We are going to take a star right from your team. And Edwin Diaz is definitely better than Devin Williams and maybe every single closer in baseball. Diaz had 98 strikeouts with a 1.63 ERA last season, had a whip of .874. The man was nothing short of phenomenal. Argument for the best relief pitcher in baseball. Now, is he going to age well? A fireball pitcher like Diaz? Who knows? It's a question that maybe he doesn't, but at the same time, he wants a 5-year contract. The Mets have been skittish about it. This is where the Yankees swoop in and go, screw it. Let's go out there and add an elite arm. So we have a two-headed monster of David Bednar and Edwin Diaz. That gives the Yankees another elite bullpen arm, and it gives them another strikeout guy after losing a strikeout guy in Williams. It makes a ton of sense if the Yankees are actively willing to spend the money. It will be around $18 to $20 million on average annual value. And with that in mind, the Yankees also prevent Diaz from signing with the Dodgers, something that is certainly a very real situation and scenario that we could all see happening right here that we all have to be well aware of. Now, on top of that, as I mentioned, Robert Suarez is someone who I would also have no problem with. Would take a short-term contract, would go to the Yankees, had 40 saves last year as the Padres' main closer, and pitched quite well. Not the same strikeout arm, but had a whip of 0.904 and a 2.79 ERA. The man's downright phenomenal, had his best season in the MLB, and will be rewarded with a nice average annual value over a year or two. And it does make sense for the Yankees to look at him as well, because the Yankees' bullpen desperately needs help. It was one of the biggest issues with the team. They didn't have a good bullpen. We do know if there's one thing we could be sure about with Brian Cashman wants a good bullpen. So I do expect the Yankees to be a bit aggressive here with their bullpen after losing Williams. I'm not surprised they lost Williams, but I do think this will still be a wake-up call. We saw how the Yankees got their bell rang when they lost Juan Soto to the Mets, ultimately going pretty quickly after Max Fried landing him, landing Williams, landing Cody Bellinger. I mean, it didn't take long for them to strike back. Also, obviously, signing Paul Goldschmidt, a move that didn't turn out to be great, but didn't work out terribly at all. I mean, Goldie had an excellent start to the year and was excellent against lefties all year long. However, the Mets, there is something to know regarding Diaz. As Anthony DiComo, who writes for the Mets for MLB.com, mentioned, Devin Williams heads across town from the rival Yankees, where he spent all of last season. Of note, multiple sources said the Mets still have interest in re-signing incumbent closer Edwin Diaz after agreeing to terms with Williams. The latter is comfortable serving in a setup role if the Mets do retain Diaz, according to one of the sources. So there is a world where Williams gets used as a setup guy for the Mets, but $15 million per year, I would not be surprised if Devin Williams is going to be closing games for the Mets from now on. Now, fans, they had some interesting reactions to this deal happening. I mean, seeing right here, I'm so confused with Edwin Diaz and Arm and Pete all have to be behind this move. This is a large deal for a guy that's had his career ruined, hopefully just for the last year, by Pete Alonso, because Alonso's home run, of course. Now, obviously, he's saying they stay, just taking the Yankees sloppy seconds. A 4 ERA gets you $16.5 million. And I mean, Edwin Diaz, you are a Yankee right there. So obviously a few different comments, a few different reactions from fans. Mets fans, over the most part, from what I could tell, are not thrilled with this move. Again, it's a lot of money, and it also does implicate a situation for the Mets to not pay Diaz, who does want 4 years. Should the 5 years, excuse me. Should the Yankees go after Edwin Diaz in a retaliation move while also adding one of the best bullpen arms in baseball to their bullpen? I definitely think they should. Do you? Let me know in the comments down below. Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Have a great day. Go Yankees.